So when should you switch from taking the SAT to taking the ACT? And when should you switch from taking the ACT to taking the SAT? That is exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video. My name is Kristina from Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and for the last 16 years, I've helped high schoolers all around the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and ultimately land spots at their dream colleges. Before we dive in, just take a quick moment to like this video and then hit that subscribe button. And then that way, every week when I post the latest in SAT or ACT or college application tips, tricks, updates, and hacks, you'll be the very first to know. So we are going to approach our decision about if in fact you should switch your standardized test by first asking a question. And that question is, before you started this whole standardized testing process to get into college, did you start by taking diagnostic tests of both the SAT and the ACT and comparing the two, or having a professional like myself compare them? So if you have done that, it's going to be a slightly different set of questions and decision making than if you have not yet done that. So quickly, before we go further, just answer me in the comments below. How did you come to take your test? So let's assume for a moment that you never took diagnostic tests before you decided to take the SAT or the ACT and make that like your test. Okay. And maybe you are feeling like you want to switch tests because let's say you're an ACT person, or you think you're an ACT person. You've taken a test or two, you've gotten pretty low scores, you haven't really seen any improvement. It's very far away from, the type of score you'd want to get into one of your dream schools and even apply. Okay. So let's say that is your situation and you never ever took a diagnostic SAT and truly compared it to a diagnostic ACT before you began. So this is what I would say to you. If you're in that boat, whatever test it is that you currently are taking, let's say you're an ACT person, you're going to stop what you're doing, do a diagnostic SAT, like go to the College Board's website, sign up for Blue Book, do practice test 4 if you've never done it already, timed. Or let's say the SAT is the test that you have been taking just because, everyone at your school takes it, your older brother or sister took it. So shouldn't that be your test too? If that's the case, then what you're going to do is drop what you're doing and go to the ACT's website, find their diagnostic test that they have for free on the website. Also, I have links to both of these diagnostic tests on my website, like linking out to both of those companies. And so I can share that link with you, and it has the instructions and the links right there. So you're going to do that diagnostic ACT, okay? So whichever case it was, ACT doing a diagnostic SAT, or you're an SAT person doing a diagnostic ACT, you're now going to Google SAT, ACT concordance. There's a lovely chart comparing the scores from both tests so you understand what they mean in comparison to each other. I think the College Board has the most up-to-date one. So you're going to compare scores. Now, only 3 things can really happen at this point, okay? One is you do the diagnostic test of the test you're like unfamiliar with, and you get like a better score than the current one. Oh my gosh, that's like the best case scenario because you basically discovered that you would be gaining points just by switching tests. So in that case, yeah, you should switch from the SAT to the ACT, or from the ACT to the SAT in that case, right? So the next thing that can happen is you do a diagnostic test for that test that you're, less familiar with, and it's lower according to the concordance chart than the one you're currently doing. In that case, believe it or not, you already are doing the appropriate test for you. So your job is to figure out maybe a more efficient study strategy, or have like a plan in place, or figure out exactly which topics and concepts you need to learn to fill in those gaps, and do that because you're already on the right track with the right test to get ultimately the score you want. Now, there's a third thing that can happen, and it's kind of the in-between. And that is you do this diagnostic for the test you're, less familiar with. And honestly, like it falls within the range of being pretty darn close. Like maybe it's not like exactly even, Steven, equal, but it's really close to being even. So in that case, I mean, you've got two options. One is you could literally go to a professional, like, this is what I'm here for. And this is what I do with my new families and my clients when they sign up for an Ace the Test game plan, right? We compare the two tests, but we're not just comparing the numbers. I'm looking at, like, well, which type of questions did you miss on the ACT? Well, which type of questions did you miss on the SAT? Which ones are tutorable? Which ones are not? Like, how many points realistically could you pick up on the ACT if that is the test you stuck with? And how many points could you realistically gain from study if you were to go with the SAT, right? So you could hire a pro like myself. Or let's say you don't have that in the budget or you don't have time for that. What you can do is go with, well, the scores are basically even. Did I like one more than the other now that I've officially tried both? So that could make the decision for you. So that, my friends, is how you would figure out if, in fact, you should switch from the SAT to the ACT or from the ACT to the SAT. But if you didn't start out having tried both tests with a diagnostic of each. What, however, should you do if you did start your test prep off the right way and you did do a diagnostic test of both the SAT and the ACT before you ever started studying? Now, what should you do? And can you switch? Let's talk about that. So, if you started your test prep the right way and you did a fair trial, a fair comparison between the SAT and ACT before you started studying, then ask yourself these three questions, okay? Because yes, sometimes you still could switch and sometimes there still is a reason to, but we have to be a little bit more particular about why and how. So the first thing is, have you been studying for the test that you decided to take way back when? Have you been studying for it for like at least 6 months? Like consistent studying, like you're meeting with your tutor or you're doing, practice sets of questions or going to a class like every week. Have you been doing this for like 6 months or more? Okay. So if you have, and also like, have you sat for and taken like 3 different test attempts of the test that you thought you were going to take? And with these, 6+ months of studying and this 3+ test sittings that you have sat for your test of choice, have you either gotten like no improvement, like 0, it's worse than what you started with, or like literally you see like no difference, or maybe you've gone up like 1 point on the ACT or like 10 or 20 points on the SAT, like basically no improvement? Or have you gotten some improvement, right? But you're really just so far away from what your target score needs to be to apply to your dream schools that you're like, I don't know, like at this pace, I'm going to be like 2 years post graduation before I ever get the score that I need to apply to the school. And obviously that's not going to work. So at this point, if you can say yes to like all of those things, so you've been studying for at least 6 months, you've taken at least 3 test sittings, and you literally have not improved, or you've only improved a tiny bit, and it's so far away from where you need to be, then here's what you were going to do. Even though you took a diagnostic test of that other one, like if you're an SAT person, even though you had taken a diagnostic of the ACT way back when you started this process, like say 7-8 months ago, or vice versa. If you were an ACT person, maybe you had taken an SAT many, many months ago before you started studying. You are going to now, at this point in time, since you have learned all this grammar and all of this math and maybe some science and some reading strategies, you are going to drop what you're doing and take a diagnostic test of the other one. So maybe it can't be like the exact diagnostic because maybe you already did that one before, but you can do like you can get the ACT's read official book and you could do the second test in their book and you can see what that score is. If you maybe already took Blue Book practice test number 4 as a diagnostic 8-9 months ago or 7 months ago or something like that, fine. Try Blue Book practice test 5, right? Do that timed. Just check in. Don't study for it. Just check in right now and see like what that score is at this point in time with your current knowledge and skill level. So again, only 3 things can happen here. One is You take the other test, just, check in. And man, that practice ACT you took, who knew? You did so much better on it than you did before. And it's better than what you're doing right now on the SAT. Or maybe you do that practice SAT, and oh my goodness, it's better than what you've been doing on the ACT in the last few test sittings you've had. Awesome. If that's the case, you didn't waste all that study time because you were learning grammar, you were learning math, you were getting into a momentum and a stamina for sitting down for a standardized test. All is not lost, right? So in that case, what you're going to do is this. So you are going to register for the very next test sitting that you're able to register for of the new test that you're going to switch to. But do not cancel any current test sittings you have on the books for your current test. So in other words, if you're an ACT person and you just got the green light to switch to the SAT, awesome. Sign up for the next SAT test sitting you're in town for. But if you already have an ACT on the books, don't cancel it. Take it as well. Okay. But what if you do this practice test of the new one that you're thinking of switching to, and it's like worse than the one you currently did? So like you're an ACT person and the scores you've gotten, you haven't liked them on test day, but you take a practice SAT, just to see, and it's like way worse. Well, guess what? That's great. That means you were on the right track to begin with, and you should stay with the ACT. Or all of this could be vice versa. Maybe you're an SAT person, you think you need to switch over to the ACT, stop what you're doing, take a time practice test of the ACT, and then you discover that yep, it was worse for me back then, it's still worse for me. Great. Now you know. Now you can stop obsessing about if you should switch tests. But what happens if it's in between, right? Like what happens if you are an ACT person, you feel like you're not improving, you try an SAT, and it's basically the same score. Or vice versa, you're an SAT person, you think you're not improving, maybe you should switch, you try a practice ACT, it's basically the same score. Well, here's an interesting thing is I would actually, in this case, right? In the case that you already did diagnostics months ago, you found your test, and now you're reconsidering, and they're kind of equal even now, months later. In this scenario, I actually would sign up for the new test, but also keep any current test sittings of the test you've been studying for the past 6+ months. Now, why in this case, right? And here's why. Every so often, the mere fact that someone is expending so much time and energy on one test and maybe putting pressure on themselves, and maybe their parents are putting pressure on them. It's like, your SAT score, it's got to be good. It's not a 1530, how will you ever apply to, right? Pressure, 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 maybe anxious feelings, anxiety, mental whirl, overthinking, all those things are happening to you, right? If you just sit for the other test, if it's roughly the same, guess what? Sometimes the mere fact that you weren't putting pressure on yourself for the new test, like you're putting pressure on yourself for the SAT, but the ACT, that one doesn't even count. It's like you haven't been thinking about it for months and months and months. Sometimes just not having that pressure is enough for you to get a surprisingly high score. Call it beginner's luck. So for that reason, if you're thinking of switching tests after starting test prep the right way with diagnostic testing at the beginning, it's been many months, you are not improving. Just for giggles, you try the test that you cast off months before, and it was basically equal. Why not? Try it out. You might surprise yourself. So that is how you determine once and for all if you should switch from the SAT to the ACT or from the ACT to the SAT. If you are actually new to this whole standardized testing process, I actually have a really, really cool training for you. And it's called my Fail-Proof College Prep Plan. And it helps you figure out which test you should be taking from the very beginning so that you're not making this sort of decision 6 and 8 and 10 months later about if you should be switching tests, and you're not having this sort of self-doubt. So check it out in the link below.